Now, Cuphead is a 2D run-and-gun action-adventure game that immediately caught the world's attention in 2017, not just because of its hand-drawn and 1930s-inspired art style and crazy bullet storm bosses, but also because it was foolishly made an Xbox One exclusive at launch. I know the game looks old school and all, but why make an exclusive deal to release it on the flop of a VCR console that was the Xbox One? Thankfully, in 2023, the game is now multi-platform everywhere. I personally got a copy on my Switch and my PS5. It's just that good, man. But in this game, you play as two brothers named Cuphead and Mugman, who essentially wander into the Devil's Casino, get on a hot winning streak, start feeling themselves a bit too much, and make one last deal with the devil. If they win, they get the casino, but if they lose their souls. And just like most people who get too cocky on a winning streak at the casino, they lost it all. Luckily, or weird to say, but luckily, the devil spared them as long as they could collect soul depths of some of the other gambling addicts that owed the devil money. Did I mention this game was rated T for teen? Well, it's rated T for teen, for a good reason, of course. But with that, we're off on an adventure as debt collectors for the devil. And man, this game is pure chaos. Don't let these cutesy ass visuals deceive you, man. We're going on a trip in our favorite... Cuphead is by far one of the hardest games I've ever played. Well, other than Elden Ring. We'll get back to that one at a later date. Not unless you're anything like these absolute menaces to society. This game is no walk in the park. All of the bosses have a ton of attacks and obstacles to throw at you at once, similar to games like Contra and Metal Slug before it. But honestly, I love this game, man. But by no means is it for everyone. If you enjoy a good challenge and like the feeling of overcoming a hindrance after practicing it over and over again, kinda like Charlie Brown trying to kick that football.
Okay, that is the last time you are gonna pull that crap. You hear me?
Yes!
Do you hear me?
Yes!
Then this game is definitely for you.
Have fun with WaavvyyD, y'all.
Cuphead does take some patience and practicing the boss's patterns over and over and over again after dying over and over and over again. Kind of like a series of games that are a bit... No, I'm not. But boy, does it feel satisfying once you hear that. There's also a variety of dogfight, air battles, and linear run-and-gun stages to help you earn coins to unlock more items. From a charm that turns my dodge into a fart cloud, to an Aussie gun that shoots boomerangs, mate. MDHR, the creators of this game, also just released a DLC pack called The Delicious Last Course. Perfect name, isn't it? The Delicious Last Course not only adds an additional aisle, but also brings a new playable character who's featured throughout the game named Miss Chalice, who comes with a plethora of new abilities, such as a double jump, dodge roll, dash parry, and even an extra hit point. She's not only a great pick for certain bosses, but if you're utterly ass at this game, then you can pay the small price of $7.99 to help either guide you throughout the game, or just to really justify how ass you are at the game.
What did you say, nigga?
I don't know your skill level, man. I don't know how good you are at video games. So it's a cartoonish looking game with challenging bosses. Cool, but what's the point? Why does it matter? Well, here's the thing. I'm personally somebody who is more of a fan of animated media rather than live action. This is because with a pen and paper, you can just let your imagination run wild and create some incredible things live action just can't compare to. In Cuphead's case, not only is every single character animation, and frame sketched by hand, but it's also inked by hand. Then they cheat a little bit, scan it into a computer, and then paint it digitally. However though, the backgrounds are all watercolored and occasionally sculpted by hand and captured via stop motion. The soundtrack has a nice 1930s jazz tone to it to match the theme of the game, and they even added an old school projector filter on top to immerse the player that much more in this old-timey era. My point? They actually cared while making this game. The amount of detail put into every single decision when it came to how this game looked, feels while playing, I mean, it's incredible, man. There's so much attention to detail that I couldn't even capture all of it on my first playthrough.
Look at this dude.
Going back to the bosses though, and how a ton of stuff is going on at once, just take a look at this one. And I still get hit, man. Did I mention, not only was it two brothers who founded the studio, just like Cuphead and Mugman, but they had no idea how to create a video game in the first place, no prior knowledge or nothing. But they did, however, have an extensive knowledge on 1930s animation and cartoons, which they took notes since they were young as hell, man. Some of the animated films and shows that inspired them were The Skeleton Dance, Popeye the Sailman, Betty Boop, and old Mickey Mouse. Like, I'm talking the very first Mickey. The one that may or may not have been racist due to Walt Disney being a neo-Nazi and shit like that. No, seriously, he was a Nazi, like, look it up. Seems like that knowledge paid off though, since Cuphead not only went off to sell over 1 million copies in its first month, not only close to 8 million copies to this day in 2023 for a $20 video game, but they also spawned an animated Netflix series called none other than The Cuphead Show, which I absolutely adore. The Last of Us show is my favorite live action show adapted from video games. However, The Cuphead Show, like, it kills it, man, in terms of animated video game adaptation. This show reminds me of a mix of SpongeBob back in the day, like the early seasons, and Chowder, man, Chowder. Who doesn't love Chowder? Now, why do we need more games like Cuphead within our industry? Well, it stretches the creativity in the visuals of video games, helping them to look more unique and stand out over the traditional hyper-realistic style most AAA games offer nowadays. So it's nice to see that a game as visually appealing as Cuphead was able to break into the mainstream regardless of its difficulty. It's even nicer to see that other games with unique hand-drawn art styles have also broken into the mainstream, like the Hyper Fighter Skullgirls, a 2D action platformer called Hollow Knight, with a sequel arriving later this year, if it doesn't get delayed. And the action-packed roguelike Hades, which actually received even more critical acclaim than Cuphead, receiving a Game of the Year nomination at the official Game Awards, and even winning the Game of the Year award for IGN's Game Awards show and multiple other industry outlets. But don't get it twisted though, all three of these games still offer a fair amount of difficulty, especially Hades, since it's a roguelike, meaning once you die, you start all the way from the beginning of the game. However, I still think Cuphead is the hardest out of these games, man. But hey, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. But I'd love to hear your opinion down below in the comments section. Let me know. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends, your families, your relatives, as it really does help the channel grow. Like I said, man, Cuphead is one of my favorite games to release in the last few years, and just one of my favorite games of all time. And hopefully this video not only gave you some insight on how this game was made, not only just put you on to the game in general, but has you excited to hop into the game yourselves. Or at least watch the show. The show is absolutely hilarious.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! There's always glue.
Bruh.
But let's have a discussion down below. Have you played Cuphead? Are you thinking about playing Cuphead? Or are you going to put somebody you know on to Cuphead? Or are you too scared to play it, so you're gonna watch other people play it? Good thing I have a playlist for it. Right up here. But in the meantime, y'all, it's been WaavvyyD, and I'm gonna catch you later. Peace.